No matter how carefully and precisely we express our message in language, thousands of uncontrollable understandings are happening in other people's minds. Then, what's the point of doing design research and of setting out plans? Is what we call strategy hopeless? Maybe it's just misguided to pursue accuracy in the first place. Maybe from the very beginning, strategy shouldn't be thought of as a fixed plan with rationally prescribed steps towards the achievement of a defined goal, but an elastic route of responses, ready to change according to continuous experiences and observations as they happen. In this way, and keeping an open and prepared mind to look at what happens, it may be more rewarding to welcome accidents in our communication process. Take the teapot drawing as an example. Imagine a company hands out a design brief to a designer to design a new teapot, and the designer proposes a new teapot as the one in my painting. Like my art teacher, the company can say, "No, this is not a teapot. This is not what we want," and the design is considered a failure. This way, the company is comparing the design with every teapot they have ever seen, searching from the pool of vocabulary that has been learned, like searching through the dictionary of a known language. If they can't find one that matches, by classification, this is not a teapot. Thinking this way, the company has limited the possibility of something new. They refuse to take the new form or function for a teapot. Maybe to them, new can likely only happen in the realm of color and of material. The design company could try to understand the reaction force from the designer, to open up spaces to insert a new definition for the word teapot. In what sense is this teapot new? How does the designer interpret the idea of a teapot? As a tool that is easy to pour out water? As something else? Treasuring the ideas bouncing back from the designer, now as a perspective to allow the company to look at their brief again. Many renowned artists only become famous years after they die. The same applies in science and in any other field of curious inquiry. The pace of the majority's acceptance of new ideas lags years and decades behind the pace of creative minds. The majority only starts to appreciate something after they get familiar and comfortable with the proposed new, after they have made the language for it. My teapot can reduce the effort necessary to lift and tilt it to pour water. Given the water can raise itself to pass through the spout. By looking at the design with an open mind, and without being afraid of change, the new challenge can be, in what way can we raise the maximum water level? This is like drifting, like traveling without a planned route. Day-to-day itineraries of package trips that specify what to do and where to go are simply repeating others' footsteps, seeing what's been seen before and hoping for a sense of achievement when we finally see what is known from so many postcards. You can be assured to get the same experience and rewards as others, but you can't expect surprise or discovery to happen along your journey. Just repeating the same route won't lead you to any place new. Further, consider the difference between the existence of language versus the absence of language. After using it for so many years, we may think language is indispensable. Can we imagine what happened if there were no language? Surreal as this idea may seem, this scenario happens all the time. Imagine or remember traveling alone in a very exotic part of the world. Or think of the time when you were a little child. Think of the times when you tried to communicate with a stranger from a distant place or with a little kid. When I was traveling in Scandinavia, I learned to enjoy my misunderstandings. Having misinterpreted the roadside up the mountain to Postpit Road in Norway, I ended up being able to wield it from above. It was not my intended destination, but somehow I was really pleased and surprised. Having overspent the time above the rock, I finished the return route in just 1.5 hours, which normally takes over 2 hours. This is just like my experience of finding myself forced to suspend communication in language, trying things in new ways and using them in the most intuitive ways. On drifting journeys, we are open enough to adjust to new ideas and challenges, making sense of new ideas in our own new ways. Perhaps we are often too tempted to use conclusive words to save effort in explaining ourselves. When we say teapot, it means to many a vessel with a spout and a handle in which tea is brewed and from which it is served. How about describing it to someone who has no concept of what a teapot is, like a kid? We would probably come up with many diverse and personal descriptions. By not using conclusive words to make teapot a teapot, we can try to depict it from many more perspectives. This diverges and opens up new angles to look at things, be they old or new. This too, language, is powerful yet dangerous. It is powerful as it shapes both our external communications with others and our internal pondering with ourselves. It is dangerous as it suggests rationality and definitions to let external communication appear valid, but at the same time, it governs our internal pondering inside the mind, where all ideas originate. It is a tool that has to be handled with great care, not to be trusted blindly, so as to avoid overdependency, and to know when to just let it go. As we learn to exert control over language, we must also learn to prepare ourselves to lose this control, and to thereby allow ourselves to act creatively.